Hello everybody, welcome to SportVision NG, the YouTube channel that gives you great sports content. We've been promoting this on our radio shows for the past 1 month, and now this is the maiden show on this platform. We call it Football Fantastic, FF for short. A roundup of football across the world, and a particular aspect of this you like, we call it Talking Tactics. Yemi Adesan and myself will break things down from a tactical perspective. We don't do banter here, we don't do trolls, we do serious football business. My name is Deji Omotoyinbo. Welcome to the maiden edition of Football Fantastic, FF for short. So it's Football Fantastic, we're about to kick off, and for that we go to the news. Here is Pedro Peter with the latest stories making the rounds in the world of football.
Thank you, Deji. We start off in England, where Kevin Glazer is willing to sell his 13% stake at Manchester United, worth £270 million, after the club's revenues fell for the first time in years, and shirt sponsor Chevrolet declining to renew their £450 million deal. Still in England, Tottenham Hotspur have re-signed former goalkeeper Michel Vorm until the end of the season as cover for Hugo Lloris, who suffered a dislocated elbow in Spurs' defeat at Brighton earlier this month. To France, Olympique Lyon have appointed former AS Roma and Olympique Marseille coach Rudi Garcia as the new manager on a 2-year contract to replace Silvinho, who was sacked recently. To Italy, Inter Milan's new summer signing, Alexis Sanchez, is set to be out of action for 3 months due to an ankle injury picked up in Chile's friendly against Colombia last Saturday. Lastly, to the Euro 2020 qualifiers, European governing body UEFA has revealed that it will use TV footage and evidence from specialist spotters to prosecute Bulgaria following racist chants in their game against England in Sofia on Monday night. Over to you, Deji.
Thank you very much, Pedro Peter. That was the news across the world of football. Now it's called The Wrap. That's the name for this segment. I'm back here, and Yemi Adesoya is with me in the studio. On The Wrap, we take a look at events across the world of football at the weekend and try and do some analysis and wrap it up for you. That's why we call it The Wrap. Yemi Adesoya is here. It's been all about the Euro qualifiers, Yemi, and they've been very, very interesting.
Very interesting. The usual suspects, especially the likes of Belgium, have shown that consistently they're able to qualify for tournaments ahead of everybody. Maybe one of the biggest surprises has to be Ukraine, who
have
qualified early, even in the group of the defending European champions as well. So it's been good so far. Only major sore point has to be the racist issues in Bulgaria. But overall, it's been a good qualification series so far.
Yeah, so 5 teams have qualified for the tournament so far. Ukraine, Poland, Belgium, Russia, and of course, Italy, who are also perfect. You talked about Ukraine and Portugal, defeating Portugal to qualify. Portugal should still be able to qualify, you have to say, but the Ukrainians were very good value for the 3 points they won last night.
Very good value, solid defensively, very compact, and of course going forward, the likes of Yarmolenko in midfield, Zenko in midfield, who controls things and orchestrates. They really look good. What always happens and what I always look at for them is how they translate the good run in the qualification series to have a proper run in the major tournament.
And a footnote from there was Cristiano Ronaldo scoring his 700th goal in all competitions for club and country. Terrific record.
Remarkable. For a football fan like myself, I'd wish he could play forever.
We're only human.
Father, time is calling gradually. Time is ticking. We'll just have to enjoy it as it is.
Fantastic. So Portugal still waiting to qualify. Belgium, though, qualified without a blip. Russia also qualified from that group. The Belgians, the last World Cup, I think they were in the semi-finals. And then the previous Euros, they were in the quarterfinals. So it does look like they're getting tournament experience. They're improving. They have to be one of the favorites in 2020.
Well, they're always favorites going to every competition because of the wonderful competitions they always have. But how they perform, how they step things up in the main tournament is always the problem. Under Wilmot, they had a good run at some point. They faltered. Under Roberto Martinez, I think they're gradually developing and improving. I think from a tactical perspective and also defensively, I think they've got some form of solidity. But then, when the big games come up, the big competitions come up, how well can they perform? We'll have to wait for that at the Euros.
Russia, they've kicked on from the World Cup, definitely. Zuba, Chesnov, all their big players coming to the party, and it's not a surprise that they've qualified fairly comfortably as well.
The fact that they've kept most of the experienced players after the World Cup, and they've built on the good that they got from the World Cup, the likes of Golovin have also stepped up playing in mainstream Europe now. Shevchenko, old warhead, who's shown that he remains a mainstay in this team. But as always, how do they take things from good qualification series to a major competition remains the question mark for both. It's been good so far, and they have a good platform to continue to build on.
One team, though, that many people might say are not exactly at their best, but they're dangerous customers at any tournament, has to be Italy. The Roberto Mancini Revolution has gone fairly well. They have qualified after failing to qualify for the last World Cup, which was very disappointing. They are back on the big stage now. How dangerous can Italy be for any opponent?
In every tournament, you have teams you call tournament teams. Italy are one of such teams. But the difference with the Italians this time around is a very young team. The likes of Federico Chiesa, Insigne, those guys are the bedrock of the team, the Benedettis and the likes. Of course, being led now by Bonucci at the back, it's a young team. But what Mancini has done is he's blended these young guys together. They're a lot more compact. And going forward, in the old days, it was always about Italy being solid defensively. But now they've shown that they can transit.
And they've got a bit of variety going on.
Especially in midfield now, with Jorginho, with Barella, with Stefano Sensi, who's burst onto the scene after moving to Inter from Sassuolo. Italy looked like the real deal going into the Euros.
The usual suspect that we're still expected to qualify, of course, Netherlands and Germany in the same group. We expect the two of them to qualify. England, though, soured their match against Bulgaria, like you mentioned, soured by racist chanting. Do you get the feeling that between UEFA and FIFA, they are still not serious enough, quote and unquote, about stamping out racism?
No, they're not, because this has been going on for forever. And more often than not, what you hear is some fine,
slap on the
half
wrist
of the stadium. Really, but this thing keeps going on. But if
what
fans
would you suggest would be a very, very excellent punitive measure?
outright bans.
Of the stadium or the country, of the team?
Of the teams, of the federation.
Okay.
Once the fans know that their behavior will have an adverse effect
On their team.
on their football,
They'll fall in line.
they will find a way to, to curtail all this madness. If you ban a team for 2 years, and they know that, just look at the loss in revenue, World Cup, Euros revenue, they'll sit up.
World champions France, though, they've struggled a little bit in these qualifiers. Home and away now, they are worse off than Turkey in terms of head-to-head.
Yeah.
But, they play Moldova at home. You do feel they will qualify. It is Turkey against Iceland that is the big game in that group in the next round.
I think the two top teams will go through.
Okay.
Turkey and France,
France.
both on 19 points. Those games don't look like games that should cost them any worries. Yes, Iceland are very tough customers, but away from home, Iceland have struggled. Turkey have shown a different side to themselves. Like I said, when we were talking earlier, that they have a very good, interesting centre-back play in Sochu and Demirela. And I think Turkey are on their way to achieving something close to the achieved in the 2002 World Cup, where they can go far in tournaments. France need to show that them winning the World Cup in 2018 was not a flash in the pan. And I think that's the problem Deschamps is having to deal with, because how to manage the expectation and then to transit from, a few players have fallen off the wagon, the Giroud conundrum is there, Griezmann is struggling for form. I think that's one.
To be fair, though, France, Euro 2016, they were in the finals, they lost at home.
Yeah.
They won the World Cup in 2018, so it's going to be a golden era for them.
Yeah.
Let's see how it pans out. In 2020, we still expect that they would beat Moldova and to qualify. All right, thank you very much, Yemi. That's the wrap. Yemi and I will return after the break with Talking Tactics. We'll take a look at one team that is taking European football by storm unexpectedly this season. You're welcome back to Football Fantastic on SportVision NG, the YouTube channel that gives you great sports content. Yemi Adesanya is still here, and we give you the final segment of this show, the maiden edition of this show, right here, right now. And we call this Talking Tactics. Yemi, one of the teams that has surprised everybody in Europe this season has to be Granada in the Spanish La Liga. They came up from the lower division. They've beaten Barcelona this season. They rose as high as second, and now they're fourth in the Champions League spot. Excellent achievement. How have they been able to do this from a tactical perspective?
Well, first of all, you have to give a lot of credit to Diego Martinez, whose history shows he's handled youth sides, been an assistant. His first major job was at Sevilla B and then Osasuna. He's shown that he can work with, the resources he has at his disposal. And they've also found players who are looking for some form of rebirth. The likes of Roberto Soldado and Maxime Golanons, who was at Lyon, are two, just to mention two. But the key element has to be that midfield. Montero, Yangel Herrera, and of course, Golanon, like I said, and if you bring it closer home, Ramon Aziz. More often than not, they start with the 4-2-3-1 formation. And they look to be very compact, looking to also break forward. But one thing that's very interesting about the way they play is when they defend. They switch to like a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-1-1.
Or even a 4-5-1 at times.
Or even 4-5-1 at times, with Herrera dropping right in front of the back four, and then the other the second striker with Soldado dropping to join the four. It's really compact that teams that like to keep possession, they ensure that they block the lines. And one thing that they do that makes it very interesting is, whilst they press you high up, they don't fall too deep. So they squeeze their opponent's space, squeeze the place on the pitch that is difficult for you to pass through. Yes, you say teams like Barcelona are supposed to be smart enough and intelligent enough to be able to break through such resistance, but Granada showed in the game they played that they were able to maintain the intensity all through. And one thing that they do when they want to break forward, they make sure they use the wide areas.
They have great defensive organization, aggressive, fantastic midfield. You talk about the present and the transition. Ramon Aziz, he's a player that found a new lease of life in this team, you have to say. What particular role does he play? And how do you think maybe the Nigerian national team will benefit from the season he's having so far?
Well, right now he's played two roles. In one of the games earlier in the season, he played as a second striker. In the game against Barcelona, was part of the purported midfield three, depending on how you set up a 4-2-3-1. He's also shown that he's able to provide support for the likes of Montero and Herrera, who play as a double pivot when they play 4-2-3-1. So he's the guy just in front of them in the setup. He's shown a lot of energy, industry, good runs on and off the ball, and always, like the goal against Barcelona, making the late run into the box to be able to get the goal. So I think he's a guy that has multiple, very flexible, and the manager is using him as his demonstration.
Okay, now before we go, let's wrap it up like this. How far do you think they can hold on to this position? How deep do you think they have a deep enough squad to be able to finish there or thereabouts? Or you think at some point maybe the lack of quality in the squad, the lack of depth in the squad will mean that they'll drop to a mid-table position?
Well,
how long can this last?
I agree with the latter part of what I think they'll drop into a mid-table position. But one thing about Granada is they have options. Options in the sense that in January they can easily call on Udinese or Watford
because
and
of the
get players in the relationship that they have with both teams. So in signing players, they can get players on loan to beef up their squad. I expect the likes of Valencia, Sevilla, and all of them to eventually bounce back, and then Water will find his level to
at some point. But it's been a great start for them.
But it's been a great start for the newly promoted side, defeating Barcelona, scoring 2 against Real Madrid. You have to give them a lot of credit.
Thank you very much, Emi, and thank you for joining us on the maiden edition of Football Fantastic, FF for short. This will come your way once a week on SportVision NG, the YouTube channel that gives you great sports content. My name is Deji Omotoyinbo. See you next week. Bye-bye.